All right, so I'm at the finish line with my Pulsar Mark III. I think I'm gonna make a few changes in the config with a few fonts. The trigger works, the LEDs, the speaker works really well too, and all the improvements that I made for it are all accounted for. See, yeah, so I'm gonna do a quick function check before I make any more adjustments. Okay. Indicator bar graph light is on and blinking. All right, let's reload. All right. I think that's pretty much all I need, but I'm gonna still make some adjustments. I'll be back. All right. So no adjustment needs to be made. I ran through the fonts and I just it's halfway closed. And the reason why I say halfway is because all the screws are over here and I haven't put them all in all the holes yet. So sit tight and I'll be right back and I'll put all these screws back in their right place. All right. So I just did one more sound font check just for my just to ensure that everything is working properly. I made sure that all the sound fonts are adjusted to my liking, and that way I can get this show on the road. So yeah, let me go ahead and finish putting all these screws back in their holes, and I'll get the video out shortly. All right. Here's the Pulsar Mark III finally screwed together and fully assembled. This blaster, it initially took me about 6 months-ish. I built it since October. It's now March, and I've successfully put everything in here that I wanted, and I'm glad that it turned out the way it did. So let's start with some initial concept ideas that I had. So ever since I started improving new ideas on paper for this next blaster to be made, I decided to do away with some of the bad wiring. Well, I wouldn't say that the wiring from the previous blaster was bad, but it could have been cleaned up a little bit more, is what I'm saying. But other than that, it's not a bad gun at all. But I decided that instead of using plastic, instead of using the plastic shell pieces of the Nerf Rival Knockout, I opted to use just a grip and 6 millimeter thick plastic and some cogs, some decorative cogs, diffusion plastic for the ray animation LEDs that you'll see later. And instead of leaving the orange tactical rail on both sides of the blaster, I decided to use some Hobby Lobby or Michaels acrylic sheets. I tried to look for some online, but it was better if I went to the craft store, and it turned out pretty nice. I cut them to fit so that way when I add the glue, so that way when I finally glue them down, they won't necessarily budge or just wiggle in place. I made sure that I made sure that the acrylic windows at least were tightly fit, so that way they don't have like a millimeter worth of wiggle room or gaps that I don't like. So yeah, uh what else? Oh, and the the hardware that I decided to put on this blaster was I have two latching switches, ambidextrous reload switches on both sides of the gun, a select fire switch, so that way I can have one font that's fully automatic and the rest of them can stay single shot. And oh, and I also added a select fire LED indicator. Let me see if I, there we go. Turn it on. So when the fully automatic switch is engaged forward, the light inside this letter I right here will come on, and to turn it off, you just push it back. So yeah, the design inspiration for this blaster, it still follows the same basic recipe as the last blaster, such as the Judge Dredd Lawgiver, the J2 pistols from MIB, and Hellboy's Samaritan. And the reason why I picked Hellboy's Samaritan was because of the custom made one off type of feel that I was going for this. But I know I'm probably gonna end up making another one depending on how this goes. I might end up making another one too. So yeah. But yeah, I decided to go for, when it came to the hand grip aspect of both guns, well, the previous two guns anyway. But yeah, the grip idea, my hands are very large. I wanted something that would accommodate being comfortable and being large enough to basically consider this as like a full hand sized a full not hand sized a full sized hand blaster. So yeah. And another improvement that I had made was that I put a hand grip protection insert made from the same thick piece of plastic that's on the outside. I super glued two of those, put some spring clamps on top of them so they can dry faster and bond very fast also. So yeah. And then I sanded both sides of it so that way no artifacts or sharp edges can cut any kind of wires or the tape that I laid down in here. But yeah, all in all, it's a pretty heavy blaster. I put some zinc washers in there too. I put like a whole pack of 50 count washers in this, and I made all of it work to my advantage. So yeah. So for the functionality aspect of this blaster, I decided to include ambidextrous switches so that way if I use it in my left hand, I can be able to reload, select the range, or select the range from where my index or thumb is, and still put out the same kind of performance with this blaster as much as possible. So, yeah. These latching switches, this one is to power on the blaster, and the other one's just underneath the bronze cog. This one is the magazine detection. So when you engage it, your weapon's empty until you disengage that button right there and you're ready to rock and roll. For the range increase, I decided to have this red button This red button was a tester button for the rear to see if I could reload it from the backside of the blaster, but instead I delegated that to being the range selector, so that way you can reload on either side, and when you hold it in both hands, you can actually select increase the blaster power and then pull the trigger. So yeah. Okay, so for tactical purposes, I decided to, yeah, like I said, I decided to have ambidextrous switches, this for range increase. And I forgot to mention, I almost forgot to mention that I've decided to make glow sights from phosphorus glowing paint that you can get at Walmart for like $2 or $3 ish. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's really cheap. It's really cheap. So I decided to do the glow sights because I was watching a little bit of the Call of Duty Black Ops gameplays, and I saw video clips of Berettas, 5.7s, and other tactical pistols being used, and they have either glow sights, phosphorus glow sights, or they have fiber optic glow sights, but I'm pretty sure they were like glow in the dark sights, but still, they look really good once they're charged. And speaking of, Black Ops and sound fonts, but I wanted to try using as much of the default Blaster Core V5 noises for this first font, but I decided to tweak it a little bit so it can be a sci-fi fantasy blaster. And the idea for this design again, and it also, there's also bits of Spider-Man, specifically the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. There's bits of his web shooter influences in this design, namely the cogs, the this animation ray right here. Now I was going to add an ammo counter, but instead of having a bar graph ammo counter, I decided to just have an LED grip, and that would suffice. An LED grip and a blast array propagation window for both sides. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I really like that function. It's so cool. But the thing is, you got to be careful. You got to be very careful when engaging the magazine removal button, so that way you don't forget that it's turned on, because I've done that a few times. However, I'm going to go to the next font. Now, the sound fonts that I have are custom made by Juan Sith. And I contacted him because I believe that he's the only one that's capable of making really good sound fonts that are both accurate and high quality. So let's go to the next one.
Standard issue J2 Agent Sidearm. Standard issue J2 Agent Sidearm.
This is the Men in Black one, of course. But you get the point. Next one.
Standard issue J2 agent side Halo Magnum pistol.
Ugh, crap.
Standard issue J Halo Magnum.
Oh, come on.
Standard Halo Magnum pistol. Halo Magnum pistol. Halo Plasma pistol. Halo Plasma pistol.
Yeah. I know it's kind of I know the Halo plasma pistol font might sound a bit like analog instead of flowing seamlessly, but it's okay. I'm pretty okay with the way it is because it's not, this blaster wasn't meant to be a plasma pistol. It wasn't meant to be accurate like one either. However, it does have the increased range from 1 to 6. 2 being the start off, 2 being the starting point because what weapon starts off with safe mode or stun mode, I should say. Let's go back to the stun mode. There we go. Next one.
Halo Plasma pistol. Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan.
This was my favorite. There we go.
Hal Jordan.
Audio player.
So yeah, the Halo plasma pistol, Green Lantern's ring, the MIB J2, 95 Lawgiver, and Hellboy's guns. All these blasters, really. These guns, blasters, characters, equipment, weapons, what have you. They were the sole inspiration and reason behind me making this gun, or not gun, but blaster, really, because it doesn't really shoot anything, but that's okay because I made it just for play. So I really loved making this. I really love making this, and I can't put this thing down for the life of me. But I really like the way this turned out. And if I had the opportunity to make another one, I really would. So yeah, I mean, just like the one thing I forgot to mention, I borrowed aspects of the 2012 Judge Dredd Lawgiver with the acrylic windows for the forward special ammo magazine up front. But instead of having special ammo far forward in front of the trigger, I decided to just have that as for like a cover up, a necessity cover up decorative piece here. So yeah, other than that, this whole blaster turned out pretty good. I like the way it is. And yeah, so stay tuned for the demo video of this blaster, and I'll see you soon. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later.